Alright, so it's a beautiful Thursday morning here in Onitsha, the commercial center of Anambra State, and we are saying welcome to the Polity this Thursday morning, the 17th of July 2024. We are poised to bring you today's program where we get to bring you up to speed with development in the country as they are reported by various newspapers. And this very morning, we have the papers as usual, but before then, of course, my name is Franklin. Ebuka, good morning, and thank you for staying tuned. I'm not alone. Chisom Chinedu is right here. Good morning, Chisom.
Good morning, Franklin. How are you doing today?
I'm good. The only minus is that you just came in and swooped to the kitchen to fill the belly without inviting anybody.
Franklin, can we have now?
I have to tell them.
Can we have now, Franklin? Some days you wake up with this ravaging hunger, and I know I'm not alone. I know I am not alone. So if you're like me, if you feel the way I feel this morning,
okay, so she decided to defend herself. I know that there are these people who call her foodies. Maybe she belongs to she's one of them. Yeah, so she just defended herself. So for you to, if you're still at home, I don't know if you have taken your breakfast. I don't know if you're still at home or if you're already out to fend for the day. But whatever it is the case, we always tell you that there's no food for lazy man, right? So you have to get up and grind. And when I say grind, you grind to get something. So because we're also grinding here to get something. Okay, so Tony is going to join us later on this very show, but we have to start today's program. Don't forget that we're always live on our Facebook page, again in Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Just get to that very page and then share the post, drop your comment. We're going to acknowledge that on Instagram and on YouTube. Udala Radio, that's our name on those two handles. Okay, so we have 4 newspapers this very morning. We have The Nation, Vanguard, Punch, and The Guardian newspapers. And we have to begin with the stories on The Nation newspaper. Alright, so let's see the papers and know the stories that are in there. So we begin with The Nation newspaper, where we have the banner headline that says, knocks for ex-VP Atiku after dumping PDP for 3rd time. He has a rider, I left because of irreconcilable differences. Exit is of no effect, says Makinde. Of course, this very story is contained on all the pages of newspapers because Atiku for the 3rd time is leaving PDP. Okay, so under headline here says why Southwest should endorse Tinubu for 2nd term now by Kayodojo. You can see that on page 4 of The Nation newspaper. Then above the nameplate, there's a headline there. It has a picture of Emeka Anyaoku. It says Obasanjo Anyaoku differ on need for new constitution. Check page 3 of The Nation newspaper. UBA trans-border payments now seamless. And the headline says, Fayose close to tears after acquittal by court. You can see that on page 6. In fact, I saw a video of Fayose where he was eating amala with site workers to celebrate his acquittal by the court. But EFCC is saying, you can't rest now because we are going to go to appeal that very case. And then, under headline we have on The Nation newspaper says, Otudeke exits first holdco in 322 billion deal. Then this one says prayers for Buhari in Daura, Abuja. FEC's extraordinary session for council chambers. That is going to happen today, I think around 5 p.m. The president is going to preside over that very special session in honor of former president Muhammad Buhari. And then last headline we have on The Nation says inflation drops for 3rd time in a row. That's on page 7 of The Nation newspaper. The last one says federal government plans end to fish importation. Page 6. When would that be? We hope that comes soon because, of course, many people now consume fish, and that could explain why the price has gone so much in comparable to what the cost of meat is now in the market.
Did you just say in comparable to what the cost of meat is? When last did you buy meat? Because meat is not cheap either. As long as it's in the Nigerian market, nothing is cheap. Meat is not cheap. Eggs are not cheap. There is nothing cheap. Ice fish that used to be the hope of the poor. I am sorry, Franklin. Even ice fish is not cheap again.
That's why I said it costs more in comparison to even meat. Like if you are going to buy red meat, like if you want to buy beef, it's cheaper now to buy beef than to buy fish.
I think I agree, but then I think sellers have also devised a way to make it easy. People now sell fish in cutlets, right? Even the ice fish that a lot of persons would normally buy the way it is or in kilos. Now you can buy parts. You can buy maybe the center, the tail, the head, and so on and so forth. And I like to think it's always been like that. Somehow the common man has always found a way to survive. Like I said, nothing is cheap. If the federal government wants food to be more affordable, they know what to do. They should encourage homegrown food items. I mean, why do we have to import a lot of species of fish, especially where we can actually grow them at home? Big question there. Let's move over to the Vanguard newspaper where the banner headline is 2027. Article's exit won't affect our fortunes. PDP Makinde they judge. The riders why I resigned from PDP Atiku. His exit means nothing. PDP. It won't affect PDP's fortune. Governor Makinde, ex-VP, has confirmed his selfishness. But they judge on page 5. And of course, on page 8, operating environment remains harsh. Businesses groaning. NECA NLC. On page 13, Nigeria's problems. Obasanjo and Anyoko disagree over 1999 constitution. Obedience deny alleged rift between Peter Obi and Nenadi Usman on page 9. On page 19, Nigeria's inflation rate declines third consecutive month to 22.22% on page 19. And from there, we are going on to see this other headline. Shetima Atiku Obi Kingigbe. Rada, Zulum, El Rufai, others pray for Buhari in Dora. On page 9, pipeline protection, Chief of Defense Staff, charges communities and ownership of national assets. On page 12, Southwest doctors to Tinubu, you are stretching our patience beyond civility. That's on page 10. And on sports on page 40, we are ready for Zambia. That's from Plumpter. Right, Zambia threat overhyped. That's from okay, I'm trying to see what this is now. Demehin. Find that on page 40 of the sports side of that paper.
All right, so it seems our guests are talking to ahead of that clash they're going to have with Zambia in the WAFCON. That should be tomorrow. But I must tell you, from what I have seen them display so far, their performances have been below par. So if they're going to defeat Zambia, they have to up their game because Zambians haven't been smiling in this very tournament. And from there, to move to the Punch newspaper, the banner headline says 2027 tensions. Buhari CPC bloc may dump APC. You can see that on page 3 of the Punch newspaper. It has a writer that says some CPC chieftains likely to quit, but APC remains unshaken. She too is the one saying so. Beside the nameplate, a headline there says CBN injects $4.1 billion to defend Naira as reserves decline. That's on page 17 of the Punch newspaper. 2027, Atiku's PDP exit sparks political firestorm. That's on page 3 of the Punch newspaper. JAMB uncovers 9,460 illegal admissions in 20 tertiary institutions. That's on page 16. JAMB is saying that from the record he has on its central admission processing system, that some universities offered illegal admission, and of course they have to pay for it. Obasanjo Anyoko push for better leadership, new constitution. You can see that on page 7. Anyoko has been consistent with his call for a new constitution, saying that Nigeria, being a pluralistic nation, needs a constitution that has to be evolved by the people other than the one that was handed over to us by the military. And yesterday he re-echoed that his long-held stance on a new constitution. Then Shetima Atiku will be attend Buhari's Fidal in Daura. That was yesterday. We saw their faces at that very event. Fayoshe weeps as court clears ex-governor of 6.9 billion naira fraud. That's on page 15, or rather 16 of the Punch newspaper. 151 top police officers under investigation, says an MPF. That's on page 12. And the last story on the Punch newspaper says insurgents enough to acquire 49 new fighter jets. That's on page 15. Okay, that's not 15, that's page 16 of the Punch newspaper.
Right then, from the Punch newspaper, let's go to the Guardian. And right here, Anyoko Obasanjo differ on new constitution on page 3. Alleged 6.9 billion naira fraud. Court acquits discharges via share of money laundering on page 5. Plachi urges calm as Riyam attack death toll rises to 32. Also, Buhari farewell on page 6. Obi Atiku defend absence as Lukman flags shift in endorsements. The riders Tinubu shouts praises to lead Buhari's tributes at FEC meeting today. Atiku's PDP exit letter aimed at stealing the spotlight from Buhari's death, says Kiyamo. Shetima leads federal prayers for former president in Dora. Chinese President Xi sends a condolence message to Tinubu. And speaking about Franklin, did you see that report by Atiku's media advisor that the letter was leaked? And I am just wondering who leaked what.
The thing is, sometimes when some things happen and you begin to have backlash, of course, what you have to do is to see how you can manage the backlash.
Let it burn out. Let it burn out.
But the thing is, these people who are called media managers, they don't think the way we think most time, because once they are in the heat, they find a way to manage it. Take, for instance, was it not Garabashe who came out some days ago to say that the story about rats eating up stains in the Aso Rock that made Mr. President to begin to work from home, that it was like a sort of conjecture based on
his health condition,
a conversation, all right, and he made it to fly, even when some persons were not finding it funny with him, but he defended it and saw it through. So these very media managers, that's what they do in heat of backlash.
All right then, let's see some other stories on the Guardian front page. Looking further down, you'd find CPPE advocates trade policy instruments to further ease inflation on page 3. Party leaders unfazed as Atiku dumps PDP the third time on page 6. Ocean residents raise concern over Adeleke Aregbe Shola face-off on page 5. FG blames rising cases of cardiovascular diseases and high sodium intake on page 4. Huriwa DSS ex-director dismissed Turkish envoy's alarm as political. Find this one also on the Guardian newspaper. And that's the last story here.
Okay, so those are the headlines we have this very morning on these very newspapers. Of course, we have to take our conversation from some of them. But before we begin this very conversation, let's let you know that Dr. Olisa Mbeki is in the building now. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, India Number. Good morning, John Nature. Good morning, God Almighty. Good morning, Franklin. Good morning, Chisom. Good morning, everyone. It's always a pleasure to be here, and we have to do what we need to do.
Good morning, Tony. Good to have you in the studio with us.
Yes, it's a pleasure.
Like I am what it took you to be here.
I know.
All right. Somebody will say, if I ban Erika. All right, we'll be right back. Alright, so you're tuned to the radio 104.7 FM, and this is the Polity, where we bring you up to speed with development in the polity. My name is Franklin and Chisom, and Olisa Mbeki. All of us are together for this very conversation. Go to our Facebook page, Udala Radio 104.7 FM, and drop your comment. You can watch live on our Instagram and the YouTube channels, Udala Radio. Let's get talking. So, I will begin with this story, which is about Atiku leaving PDP for the third time. And since his letter of resignation surfaced in the media, there have been different reactions. But before we get to the reactions, just to let you know that former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has formally resigned his membership of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), ending a decade-long relationship with the opposition party he co-founded. The resignation was confirmed in a letter dated Monday, July 14, and addressed to the chairman of the PDP in Jada 1 ward, Jada local government area of Adamawa State. A copy of the letter was shared publicly on Wednesday by Atiku's media aide. Atiku, who was the PDP's presidential candidate in the 2023 general election, stated that his decision to leave the party came after reflection on the current direction of the PDP, which he said no longer aligns with his or with its founding values. And I just want to take an extract from the letter. It says, "I am writing to formally resign my membership from the People's Democratic Party (PDP) with immediate effect. I would like to take this opportunity to express my profound gratitude for the opportunities I have been given by the party. Serving 2 full terms as Vice President of Nigeria and being a presidential candidate twice has been one of the most significant chapters of my life. As a founding father of this esteemed party, it is indeed heartbreaking for me to make this decision. However, I find it necessary to part ways due to the current trajectory the party has taken, which I believe diverges from the foundational principles we stood for. It is with a heavy heart that I resign, recognizing the irreconcilable differences that have emerged. I wish the party and its leadership all the best in the future. Thank you once again for the opportunities and support." And since then, we have seen reaction. In fact, this very morning, we also saw the resignation of Fedele Momodu from that same party. But let's now talk about Atiku first. Since that very resignation became public, we have seen reaction from some unnamed persons in the PDP. But somebody who has been vocal about it is Governor Sheyi Makinde, who has said that Atiku's exit is not going to affect the party in any way. Then for Bode George, Atiku's exit is just like a confirmation of his determination to continue to pursue his presidential ambition, even when it doesn't bode well for the good of the party. And then for APC is dismissing his wherever he's going to go to, whether he's going to go to ADC or not. The APC is saying it's immaterial, it's of no substance. So let's talk about this. Atiku leaving PDP, is it a minus for the PDP as PDP is now, or perhaps it's a riddance that is necessary? Tony.
Atiku leaving PDP is expected. Remember, there was a day we exhaustively discussed something about his leaving, and I did say he will only leave PDP for the coalition party. But at that time, we never knew which party would be the coalition party, and we were actually thinking probably they would form a new political party, but that didn't come. Now he has left PDP. Remember, before leaving PDP, you were asking me, was it a minus or was it a plus? PDP, as far as we are concerned, is in coma. So if something leaves someone who is in coma, is it a minus? Is it a plus? PDP, as presently constituted, is working for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. No doubt, Sheyi Makinde, Fayose, Wike, Bode George, they are all working for the president. And one interesting thing about
it, covertly or overtly?
Overtly, not covertly. They are not hiding.
So it's no longer hidden.
No, they're not hiding it.
But then, Tony,
is Bode George working for Tinubu? Because Tinubu, we know that Bode George and Tinubu, they haven't been the best of friends. In fact, at a point in time, he said if he becomes the president, he's going to go into exile.
He has retracted his statement. He said it, but he didn't go to any exile. He's still in Nigeria. And remember, there have been so many Yoruba leaders trying to reconcile the two. And with the information, both of them they are going to align. But the point I'm trying to make, PDP, as presently constituted, has been reduced to a party managed and influenced by Southwest. You have other Nigerians who are still in the party, but the party is presently influenced by Southwest, with the sole aim to work for Mr. President. So Atiku leaving the PDP, yes, we know Atiku to be always on political transit. No doubt. We saw how he left PDP in 2006. He was 7 years. He spent 7 years in PDP. And then when he left PDP in 2006, he defected to AC. And the reason we knew then was he fell out with the then president over the 2003 to 2006 section politics. Obasanjo was accused of trying to block Atiku's presidential ambition and also an attempted to remove him as vice president. But Atiku, before then, have had a good grip of the National Assembly. He joined AC and he fought tirelessly to ensure that Obasanjo did not go for third term as was alleged. And he was in AC. And returned to, he was 3 years in AC from 2006 down to 2009. He spent 3 years. And then after spending 3 years in AC, he returned back to PDP in 2009. And the reason he gave for returning to PDP was because of the national platform, saying AC was more of a regional platform, that he couldn't give him that opportunity to really, as a nationalist he was then, to push his national agenda. He wasn't pushing for regional agenda. So he, more like referring AC, controlled by Ahmed Bola Tinubu then, as a regional party, that he felt that he needed a national political party with a chance of winning elections and implementing reforms. So he said that AC had then become too regionalized under Bola Tinubu's growing influence. Then he left PDP again in 2014 and defected to APC. He spent 5 years in APC. In fact, he spent 5 years in APC. From 2014, he joined the APC. In 2014, he was in APC to 2017.
Yeah.
So he spent 3 years. So if you look at the reason he left PDP for joining APC, he said that if he was opposed to Goodluck Jonathan re-election bid, he argued that PDP had breached the zoning principle, which should have favored a northern candidate, and that was his sole reason of leaving PDP after he had rejoined in 2009, where he spent another 5 years in PDP and now joined APC in 2014, and he went on to spend another 3 years under APC. When he left APC in 2017, Atiku now said that APC had failed to deliver on its promise, especially around restructuring, youth employment and unity. Remember when they were going for power, he was one of the 5 persons that contested APC primaries in 2014, likes of Isa, likes of Pampaso, Rocha Sokorocha, Muhammadu Buhari, Atiku, and then the Isaiah, the publisher of Tribune newspaper, who is now late. So he left in 2017. He cited the same repetitive reason that they are not implementing reforms, and he joined PDP again in 2017. He rejoined PDP. So he had been, just like you pointed out when you were making your intro, that he had joined PDP and left PDP 3 times.
Yeah,
so
Anthony, I was going to take you up on the integrity of the PDP at this point, because if the integrity of the PDP hasn't always been found wanting, I doubt Atiku would be on and off. So there are 2 sides here. The integrity of the man who goes back to something that lacks integrity every time he doesn't have an option, and also the integrity of the party itself. What do you think of the 2?
If you look at integrity of political party, do you leave political party when the political party is messing up, or do you stay in and fight the cankerworm? From what we have right now, he had exhausted every option. The courts are not doing anything. The last we heard from the court was it's purely an internal affairs, where you have likes of Demagon in acting position. You also have Samuel Anyanwu. These are Wike's men, and they had been in this battle with Wike. Recall that the problem of PDP started in that 2022 primaries before the 2023 general election, where Atiku defeated Wike in the primaries, where the primary itself was dollarized. And since then, Wike also threw an olive branch. Take me as your deputy. Atiku felt you can't be my vice presidential candidate since you are much more overzealous, always forward, and you even run faster than your master. So he felt that he can't be my running mate and decided to choose Okowa. And since that primaries, PDP had never been the same. And we can felt that since he had been put aside the way he was put aside after fighting likes of Alimadu Sharif, whom he fought so bad to ensure that he did not slaughter PDP or use PDP as his personal property. And the money he invested in making some PDP governors at that time, the governors, he now went on a sole mission to destroy PDP. Since he couldn't have it, this is what I'm going to do. It's all about interest. And Atiku, if you look around, it's not basically on issue of interest or integrity. When he joined AC in 2006, what was his intention? To contest for president, and he was offered a platform by Bola Ahmed Tinubu to contest for the position of president. He left and felt that he couldn't garner anything. In fact, he couldn't make wave. He couldn't mount any challenge. He left again in 2011. Before then, remember, he joined the PDP in 2009. But before then, Bola Ahmed Tinubu has converted his AC to ACN, where he had given Nuhu Ribadu platform to contest in 2011 with likes of Ibrahim Chakarao, Muhammad Buhari of CPC. So we saw all these things. Now, Atiku, when he left PDP again in 2009, he had seen that Jonathan would not give him the opportunity because the party had chosen Jonathan. So in any time Atiku is any political party, his sole interest is one thing: give me the platform to run for the position of the president. And when that platform is not given, he shops for another political party with the same interest and gives you a reason why he's living where he had always been, or why he's living where he was at that time. So the point I'm trying to make is not a question of integrity, but presently, if I were him, anybody who is still in PDP is just in PDP to support Bola Ahmed Tinubu. If you know that you are not going to support Bola Ahmed Tinubu come 2027, no need of being in PDP. The party has been hijacked by Wike and co. And being hijacked by Wike and co with the sole purpose of delivering Mr. President, they have not in any way.
Okay, so let's go more on what the Bode George said about this movement, which was made by Atiku. He said he has walked this path before. He joined Bola Tinubu, but they deceived him, and he ran back to the PDP. He is no longer a young man. What I can decipher is that this ambition to become president has taken over his inner strength and thoughts. As a leader of this party, he should realize that what we do in the PDP is zoning. 8 years in the north, 8 years in the south. He knows for sure that he cannot get our presidential ticket in 2027. He has to wait until 2031. And he goes ahead to talk about, or he went about to insinuate that Atiku cannot be exonerated from the problem that PDP is having now. He tried to, link it up to what happened in the last presidential election, where PDP was meant to go south because it was having a national chairman from the north. But whether hook or crook, they know how they did it. Atiku became the presidential candidate of the party, and the former PDP chairman who came from the north also had sway until the time he was forced to leave. So the crisis in PDP now, can we exonerate Atiku from that?
Everybody in PDP, even those who are leaving or those who have left, they have their own share. Atiku could have managed this problem. He wouldn't say he caused the problem. He contested a primary, and after contesting a primary, he was given a choice to make, and that choice he made marred PDP. We've been told most times that your choice can make or mar you. You can imagine if Atiku had chosen Wike as his running mate, probably they would have won the election. And if they had won the election, Wike will be the vice president. He could be overzealous, but as the president, you can always tame your vice president. Recall, he wouldn't want anybody to do unto him what he did to Obasanjo. He was a vice president that was overzealous, and he was a vice president that had the influence of the National Assembly. Look at Obasanjo's My Watch book, the one he authored. He said Atiku removed Evans and Warren through backdoor to enthrone Chubo Kanibo, his bosom friend, as a vice president. And that he fought so hard, using all manner of tactics. Obasanjo knew very well that to manage Atiku was difficult for him, but he did. So Atiku can as well manage Wike. But the point I'm trying to make is this: Atiku had always made this movement with sole interest of his presidential ambition. Buhari made the same. In 2003, Buhari ran as a president under ANPP. He ran the same in 2007. Then there come CPC in 2011. So each political party Buhari was at any point was driven by sole interest of his presidential ambition. But unlike Atiku Abubakar, Buhari was also driven by conviction to build a northern-centric ideological movement. If you look at after his experience with ANPP in 2003 and also in 2007, he left to form CPC in 2009, not to defect to ready-made party. And I was listening to his debate in 2011, the political debate. Most times when people say that Buhari had not attended any political debate, he attended the one of 2009. The one Goodluck Jonathan could not do with them, but Jonathan did his own alone twice. But likes of Chekarao and Ribadu and Muhammad Buhari felt that Jonathan would have joined them in the first round of debate, organized by NN224, if I could recall. But in that debate, when each of insecurity was asked by the moderator, and he asked the same question to three of the key candidates, Chekarao, Ribadu, and Buhari in 2011, Buhari was saying that insecurity should be taken care of, especially when you have the insecurity in Plateau State, in Borno State, and so that there is a grazing route. And before the independence, that the colonial masters developed this grazing route alongside with this infrastructure. That if this grazing route are developed, that these people are nomads, they move around, they are nomadic in nature. They don't have a permanent home. They move with their cattle, they move with their animals, and in so doing, you need to create this reserve for them, so for them to be making their movement. That was his answer to the question of insecurity. That's the only thing he felt that could be done to ensure that the insecurity problem of this country is solved. But when everybody was asked the same question, everybody was saying something different. That you need to ensure that you fight corruption, you fight poverty, you make sure that people can access basic amenities. There are ways of fighting this. And Chekara was also saying something close to what Ribadu said. But the key thing remains that Buhari was seeing it as a way of giving the cattle areas their benefits, give them more grazing routes, give them infrastructure, and in so doing, insecurity will be solved. So the point I'm trying to make here is the fact that I'm just trying to underscore the earlier point that he was trying to build a northern-centric political ideological movement, which he did.
Okay, so let's now do more on this. Now, if the main factor that drives Atiku's political movement, whether he leaves PDP, goes to another party, or leaves another party, goes to PDP, if he has been his presidential ambition, and now he is destined to end up in the ADC, so does that mean that it's a doom for ADC? Because if you look at the past, look at his precedents, all those times he defected to a new political party, it didn't end in praises.
If you look at all the times he defected to new political parties, yes, he did not end in praises. Remember, in this case of ADC, he just trying to mimic what Buhari did in 2009. Buhari, along with some northern figures, formed CPC. And with that CPC, they were able to negotiate CPC into APC as currently positioned. All Atiku needs to become the president of this country is a support of a figure-held southern politician. And in Nigeria now, we have two figure-head southern politicians in the person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Mr. P2B. These are the two figureheads when you talk about southern politics in Nigeria. When you talk about northern politics in Nigeria, you have two persons. You have Atiku Abubakar and Rabi Musa Kwankwaso. These are the two figures or figureheads in northern politics. But you can always say Atiku has an edge over Kwankwaso because Kwankwaso jurisdiction is mainly Kano and possibly Kaduna if he can stretch his hand. So Atiku is now the figurehead of northern political movement since the death of Muhammad Buhari. It had always been Muhammad Buhari, but he hasn't shown interest since he became president, served a term. He has returned to his colony, mainly because he had done what he had wanted to do, not just to join all these political furore. So the point remains that in North, Atiku is the figurehead, followed by Kwankwaso. In the South, you have Obi and then Bola Ahmed Tinubu on the same level. So it depends on where you are coming from. Some will say no, it's Obi. Some will say no, it's Bola Tinubu. It depends on who is making the statement. The point is, Atiku needs one figurehead from the South to become president, and then Obi at the same time needs one figurehead in the North to become president. So you see the mathematics.
So that's what I'm asking, because Atiku moving to the ADC, there's no truth about it. You need the lawyer Balagafa that he's there because he wants to contest for the presidency.
The ticket. He is there for the ticket.
And these people, they said they are coming together to galvanize their forces to be able to dislodge Mr. President by 2027. And they keep on asking, who is going to give way for the other, for them to be able to achieve? Because from the look of things, it appears that Atiku might not give up his ambition for anybody.
He's not going to give up his ambition from the look of things. We've seen that being reflected by Dele Momodu, his bosom friend. His bosom friend had made it very known to us that Atiku is in ADC for the ticket and is going to run, and nobody's going to stop him. That if you think your candidate is more popular than Atiku, let him come to the Eagle Square, the primaries, and then the popularity check will be looked into. And Obi would also want zoning, ADC to go into zoning. But Atiku believes it's going to be thrown open. Remember, the same way PDP treats open was what destroyed PDP, because PDP abandoned zoning. And now the course seems to be clear for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. If Obi and Atiku cannot agree,
exactly,
take it anywhere, it is a good news for Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Speaking about Dele Momodu, this morning news broke of him joining the ADC officially. And also, I was going to ask you something concerning Obi and Atiku reaching a consensus, especially as you pointed out rightly that this idea of zoning is supposed to be at the front burner, with the whole idea of the South having to complete 8 years. But I've also heard some people argue that the South has done 4 years, and this idea of a double turn for the region that is on the seat does not really sit well. So do you think that it is better dislodged at this point in time, and every region gets a shot at least one tenure and it passes round, as against this 8 years thing that is being done presently?
That's the central figure when it talks about the political conferences we've had. And in all of these political conferences we've had, the 2005 political conference that first recognized the 6th geopolitical zone. I'm talking about 1995 political conference that first recognized the 6th geopolitical zone, the one convened by Abacha, and also the 2005 political conference convened by Olusegun Obasanjo, and 2014 political confab again convened by Goodluck Jonathan. They have all had one thing in common: rotational presidency, where every region will have a shot at presidency. Some say north and south, some say no, this is your political zone. So if that is done that way, everybody will key in line and know when it is the region's turn. Every region has got the best brain, and this seems to be telling the counterpart. And the critical thing, some will tell you that you need to do that to allow or to push the one Nigerianness, that Nigeria of every man's vision, not dominated by any tribe or tongue or language or region. So it's important that is anchored in that way. But as it presently stands, the North felt that their time when Yar'Adua was in power was cut short, and they have not got time to reclaim it back. And that was the reason it was thrown open. They say they gave Jonathan the South. Obasanjo was in power for 8 good years. Yar'Adua came in and stayed for 3 good years and died in office. They also allow another Southerner to run for another 4 years based on the mood of the nation. For those who say there's nothing like mood of the nation, the mood of the nation when Jonathan ran was that he should be given that opportunity to run. And I keep saying, the mood of the nation now is that a Southern completes 8 years. But that doesn't mean that it cannot be usurped. You can usurp it and then try your luck, and it may work for you. But it beholds that Atiku is not listening to any of this. And age is not on his own side. Age is not on Atiku's side, just like Bode George said. And he felt, if I allow Obi 4 years now, how old would I be? And how sure am I that Obi, a Southerner, will deliver on his promise of one time when he would have the instrumentality of the state, the security forces of the state, the resources of the state? How can anybody stop him if he wants to run for second time?
But isn't that going to be 3 tenures for the South then?
That is it. So that is why President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is inadvertently positioned, even without him knowing that he has advantage. He has advantage. With that alone, he has advantage, and for the fact that Obi and Atiku, no matter how it looks, and people are saying, Obi has said, no matter the statement made now, politics can really tell you a whole lot. If you're following the politics, things can be done within the space of hour. I'm saying, the way I'm saying it, you may like to believe it or not. Atiku, if they go for primaries, Atiku will get the primary ticket of ADC. Go and mark it anywhere, book it anywhere. And if he does so, I don't know the fate of Labour Party as at that time. If Labour Party has been so fragmented with Julius Abure, who is now working with President Bola Tinubu, that it will be no more formidable for Obi to run, don't be surprised at 11th hour Obi may decide to be Atiku's running mate. Don't be surprised.
Do you think they will have better chances at that?
If both of them come together, Atiku being the president and then Obi, yes, it will be very difficult.
But they've run together before. We saw how that panned out.
No, remember, Obi hasn't become what he is today at that point.
Yeah, but you know that if Obi decides to maybe be anybody's running mate, whether it's Atiku or whoever, it's Mr. Awusigo.
No, he wouldn't say Mr. Awusigo. look at two things that will happen. Look at two things. He will lose supporters. He will also gain supporters.
That's why I say Mr. Awusigo, because most of his supporters are not going to go with him.
That's what I'm saying. Most of his supporters are not. He may lose so many southern supporters and gain northern supporters. So it will be give and take. And he may come out and tell you the reason he may go for that. I'm not in any way saying for sure that this is going to happen. It's a speculation that if they go into primaries in ADC, he's certain taking anywhere that Atiku will win it. He knows how to win primaries. The last he couldn't win any primary was in 2015. Since then he had been winning primaries. But the point remains, Obi may leave Labour if Abure is being used to ensure that Labour is no more formidable. Because what is going on now, you saw Abure and Wike the other time. What do you think they will be thinking? What do you think they will be planning? Their own is to make Labour to become vegetable, to be what PDP is presently is. And these people are fighting, and the court has said the whole thing is in your hand. That's what court has said. And who controls INEC? Who controls INEC? The powers that be controls INEC. So if INEC fails to recognize Nenadi Usman, how can Obi become the candidate of the party? Unless INEC recognizes Nenadi Usman, the faction where Obi belongs to, as the rightful faction, nothing will happen.
Okay. All right.
Do you see any truth in the permutations that Obi and Nenadi Usman have fallen out?
The one thing is this: Nenadi Usman has become a loyalist. If you had followed her politics over time, I don't see the possibility.
Okay.
She's somebody that if she's here, she's here. If she's not here, she's not here. What people are now pushing for Obi is to leave Labour Party and go into another political party. That is another option for Obi. If he cannot run with Atiku, and where Abure is being used to fragment Labour, to make Labour not to be formidable, Obi still have an option of choosing another political party. But if he does that, would he get the support of the North? So it's to leave the room for people to start doing their political calculus, political calculation, permutation. That is it.
Okay, so later we're going to come back to the alleged rift between Obi and Nenadi Usman, because why that feeling or why that rumor came up was because of the fact that he showed up at the campaign rally of George Mogalo, and you know that it wasn't actually Nenadi Usman faction that conducted the primary, which produced George Mogalo. So we're going to talk about that later. But before then, there's another reaction trading this exit of Atiku Abubakar from the PDP. It's coming from the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, where he condemned Atiku Abubakar. He condemned the timing of his resignation, asking why should that come at the time Nigerians are mourning the death of former President Muhammad Buhari. And he said that Atiku did this because he wanted to take the shine, or he wanted to take the spotlight to himself at this point in time. And for him, he said it was insensitive. He also raised concern about the coat of arms in the letter of resignation which he put out in the media. And he's saying that this marks of impersonation. For the fact you're no longer active in government, you're not supposed to have coat of arms in your letterhead. We're going to look at this once we return from this very break. Stay with us.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Good news and welcome to Winners Global Estate, Heaven in Ogwashuku and Nyocha Local Government Area, Asaba, Delta State. Home sweet home.
Ladies and gentlemen, mamas and papas, Winners Global Estate is here with their special promo package for real winners. Don't miss out in this laudable promo 2025, Heaven on Earth.
Buy, build, live, work, and enjoy. Unlock your dream home of reality. Winners Global Estate is selling fast. 3.5 million, 50 by 100. No more 7 million. Promo price. For booking and more information, please call
081 64 40 4098 or 080 37 44 3787. Winners Global Estate. Your security is assured.
Winners and Winners Global Estate.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread, for your family breakfast. Wendy's bread, Abachi chande tozialo. Wendy's bread, mama papa they like Wendy's bread, na chicha nenyandu. Wendy's bread, even children they like Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, Ninta. Wendy's bread, you get the better tasty we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread, Wendy's your bachichoma. Wendy's bread, the champion.
Wendy's bread, your tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, Second Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onitsha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tani Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic. You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, thank you for staying tuned to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. You are listening to the Polity. My name is Franklin and Chisom, Chinedu and Olisa Mbeki. They are in the studio with me this morning, and we're going to go to the that aspect of this very conversation, which is the reaction trading the exits of Atiku Abubakar from the PDP. So I talked about the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, who criticized Atiku over the timing of his resignation from the PDP, accusing him of attempting to divert national attention during a period of mourning. Now, he went on X on Wednesday and made a post. I'm talking about Keyamo. He condemned Atiku for making the resignation letter public during the national mourning period for ex-president Muhammad Buhari. And according to him, while it is within the rights of Atiku to change political party at any point in time he may wish, dropping that letter during this week of mourning of Buhari is insensitive and an attempt to draw the spotlight away from such a solemn occasion and direct it on him. And I also talked about the fact that he faulted him for using a coat of arms letterhead to announce his resignation from the PDP. So two things. Do you think that Kemo has a point in what he's saying, that Atiku should have waited after the mourning period for him to have announced his resignation, knowing that, of course, there is no way it can take attention away from that very death?
Atiku did what he did for the sake of politics. He's playing politics. And when you say he's insensitive to the plight of President Muhammadu Buhari, remember, they were comrades, they were patriots, but they were never political friends. They were never political allies. And for Atiku, he wasn't in the same political party with Muhammadu Buhari at the time of his death. So when you say he's insensitive, he would ask you, should I be sensitive? If you say he's insensitive to the mourning period, he will ask you, should I be sensitive to a government that robbed him twice? That's his own claim. He always say that he was robbed in 2019. And he was
so can we say it was intentional?
It was intentional, pure intentional. You won't take it away. When you say he's insensitive, he's not claiming that he's not insensitive. He's not claiming so. Whatever he did was purely strategic and intentional. If you are good when it comes to branding and advertisement, yes, you know that the attention is here and he wants to divert the attention, just like Kemu said. And Kemu is now saying Atiku is quite insensitive, and Atiku is saying I'm not sensitive. So you are just repeating what I am. So he hasn't in any way changed anything. And then you raise the issue of coat of arm. It's important we point it out. It's part of the discussion. I'm aware that the coat of arm of Nigeria is a national symbol and is legally protected. Not everyone is permitted under the law to use the coat of arm. And he also, just like I said, is also protected by the law. So in view of this, it's important that we, according to the law, there are those who can use it and there are those who cannot use it. So Article falls within the categories of those who cannot use it. Because if you look at the coat of arms, just like I said earlier on, being our national symbol and also identity, it can only be used by the president, the vice president, current serving vice president and current serving president, state governors with state modifications, ministers and heads of federal agencies, that is MDAs, when acting in official capacity, not when acting in personal capacity. Institutions like the National Assembly, Judiciary, military police, even federal and state government agencies, diplomatic missions. These are people that can use Nigerian coat of arm, and then if you are to use it, you will have to use it in official capacity. But did Atiku use it in personal capacity? Yes, he did. He was conveying his message of resignation. So what was the sense of bringing in the coat of arm into your letter of resignation? So it's important that KMO has pointed it out. Just like I said earlier on, what KMO said in that sense is true, because not everybody is permitted by law to use the coat of arm in personal capacity, not something you use personally.
So who is permitted to? I know a lot of persons are going to be wondering. So if a person of article standing is not permitted to, who is permitted to?
I've just named those who are permitted. I've named the president, the vice president, the Senate, the National Assembly, and the heads of MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies, parastatals. And I also say that they will have to use it in official capacity, not personal capacity. There's a law, there's a legislation that guides the usage of this coat of arm. So it's guided and it's also protected by law. So it's important we know that misuse can lead to legal consequence as is protected by Nigeria national symbol legislation.
Okay, so let's switch over to the next story, which is what came up yesterday. Of course, we talked about it on this platform, where the likes of Reno Mercury and the one Sariki Dejadeyanju were lambasting former Anambra Governor Peter Obi because he didn't show up at the burial of former President Muhammadu Buhari on the day that most of the people congregated in Daura where he was buried. And we talked about, we even raised questions whether he must be there that very day. But yesterday we saw the likes of Atiku Abubakar, P2B, Nasi El Rufai, and even many other persons. They were in Daura yesterday, where they paid their last respect to the departed former president. And at the end of the day, when he spoke to the press, he explained why he wasn't at the burial on Tuesday. And if I'm going to read what he said that very day that the airport in Castina was closed due to the number of dignitaries who were there and so many other things he said. And that was why he didn't show up that very day, but they were there yesterday to pay their last respect. So does that answer the concerns of the likes of Reno and the Deja Dayanju?
These men are just political jobbers. They are just political jobbers. So I've just said it the other time. Remember yesterday when we were making this statement, and I did say that P2B was too sharp because I know his style, I know his pattern. He may not show up at the very day of the burial, and he was too sharp. I think somebody sent me a message to that and said, Mr. Speaker, what you said later happened. We know it will happen. We don't need any prophet to tell us some of the things we know.
He wasn't also the only person who showed up on that second day. And so is it safe to say that the likes of Renault are obsessively trying to pick a hole in everything Obi does or everything that concerns Obi? This wasn't about who attended the funeral of the former president or not. It was about somebody wanting to paint someone black at all cost.
Renault misfired this time around. He didn't make certain calculations. He didn't calculate very well. And look at Nigerians have been spitting on Renault. They have been lambasting him with unkind words. He was too in a hurry. Yes, you've been designated as the senior special assistant to Mr. President on fault finding on Mr. P2B. So his role is to keep finding fault on this man. And that's what he's paid for. But he could have used his good sense of judgment to know that this man, look at his pattern, he may show up. So that one wasn't a valid weapon to weaponize him. You could have used another thing, probably his conduct, and he saw burial venue. So he misfired. And even those who are paying him will tell him, you didn't do this one very well. So he behaves like a reckless opportunist who has been spinning half-baked commentary with the arrogance of a self-appointed oracle. That's what has made some people who follow his rant, I call that a rant, not tweet. Those who follow his rant, that's what he makes them to believe. So he has shown that in his works, in his character, more often than not, these things reek of desperation for relevance, and he has lacked consistency. Sometimes he'll tell you, fact check me, and in all of that you see nothing to fact check. So senior special assistant, I don't know to anybody on fault finding on Mr. P2B, he misfired.
Okay, so now that the era of Muhammad Buhari is coming to an end, so to say, because already people are already speculating, and we know the influence he wielded in the north politically. We know the number of votes that we are in the bank for him anytime he's on the ballot, or if he decides to support somebody. And now people are speculating that now that his era is gone, that there could be political realignment in the north in the next election. And people are saying that the members of the APC from the CPC bloc, that their imminent defection for the APC could be somewhere now in the offing. They might be trying to perfect all this move now that this era is gone, and that move could be perhaps yesterday meeting, which saw Obi and when I say meeting, I mean congregation in Daura. It could have been an opportunity for them, to come together and see how they can tap on that CPC block of the APC. What are you thinking, Johnny?
Many of them have defected to ADC as we speak right now. And when you say that it may be in the offing, they have defected to ADC. And then we have seen the likes of Erufai. We have seen the likes of Abubakar Malami. And they have made this political alignment. And then you also have the likes of Abdulaziz Nyako, senator representing Adamawa Central. So there are so many of them who are realigning now. So these were members of a CPC blocks we know very well. So, and then Tanko Amakora, he had always been a strong member of CPC block. He won governorship under CPC for Nasarawa State. What is keeping him in APC is his ambition to become the national chairman. If he's denied the national chairmanship of APC, he will leave to ADC. So there are camps. Many of them have made this alignment, and some are waiting for promises made to them in APC. So once they can't get that promises, definitely they're going to realign. But one thing is very certain. So many of these northern politicians now who are working with Mr. President, many of them will disappoint him just as they did to Jonathan. And President Bola Tinubu should be careful. I've seen many of them, I won't want to call their names. Many of them disappointed Jonathan at a point. Adamu Mwazo was also faulted to have disappointed Jonathan. He was the national chairman of PDP when this things happened. Even the vice president, Namari Sambo, many of them had this. They were not pushy about him coming back.
Don't you think it's about what they were able to get and what they were not able to get?
They were so much concerned that the power should return to North. That many of them had this thought that Jonathan had this gentleman agreement with some major stakeholders, and even with the political trinity, Abdul Salam Abubakar. You also have IBB, and then Obasanjo. These three men are the political trinity in Nigeria. And where Jonathan appeared before them and told them that he would go for one term. And this political trinity, they have their influence. So remember, their homes usually serve as a maker of salt during the political period.
Why do we keep leaving things as important as the presidency to be determined by a certain trinity? Especially where at the end of the day, this is supposed to be a democracy and it's supposed to be counted by the vote of the people.
We can disrupt that. If not for what happened in Rivers State in the last election and some other states, probably in Benue State and in Lagos State, that would have been disrupted. The people have the capacity to disrupt it.
How do we do that again? Because as it is now, Nigeria needs urgent rescuing from these people.
Okay, so let me add. But these people actually, do they decide? They can have some influence in some persons, on some person, but do they actually decide who becomes the president? Take, for instance, we know how Obasanjo led coalition to stop Tinubu. But Tinubu still won the election. And we even know how even Obasanjo, when he was trying to lead that coalition, he went to visit IBB and co. He visited whoever he could have visited. But at the end of the day, they made no headway.
So if you say that even Obi, remember when Obi was coming out, Obi also visited this Trinity. Hope you're aware.
Yeah.
So and then also paid his dues to the Trinity. And the Trinity, the idea is, instead of being against me, be neutral.
Exactly.
That's the Obi message. Not that for them to support him, but not really for him to support, or the Trinity to support his candidacy. So the point remains that these persons, remember, they have influence. They have helped many of these politicians in one way or the other in the past. If in fact the road for them becoming what they are today, this Trinity made so many of them. After they said his own, the other day, IBB launched his book where he said he made all of us. He made all of us. In fact, he was giving us money. He was giving us contracts. He was giving us everything. It is now time for us to do something for him, and he has never asked anything. And with that, I'm giving 500 million. So, with that, you understand why the Trinity, why they have such influence. Abdul Salami met some of them, Obasanjo met some of them when he was president, and then IBB made so many of them. So you can understand that even in the military, these people have influence. And you can't talk about military with the likes of, just like I was talking about what happened in 1983, 31st December the other day, I think about 2 or 3 days ago here. You had many of these people in the military that are so loyal to this Trinity. But Nigerians, for me, rank higher than the Trinity. Nigerians. And they can decide to make this Trinity to become irrelevant. And the Trinity, they have influence on some political blocks and then some political groups and political units. That's their influence, not generally on Nigerians. And these political blocks and political units will go back and start working on those who they have influence on, preaching whatever they want to preach trying to have converts. But everything Nigerians decide the fate of any candidate. But what we want is an electoral system that will be truly fair, credible. That's what Nigerians crave for more. Not the Trinity, not these people, not these personalities, not this group. Most times during election, you will see different groups. You see NEF, Northern Elders Forum. You see AFY. You see many of them, they will pop up. Yes, they have some level of influence on those who follows them or those who listens to them. But the key thing is, what Nigerians need mostly is the electoral system being what it should be.
Okay. All right. So we have to go for this very commercial break. We'll be right back to wrap up the conversation on another issue we have pending.
From the commercial city of Onitsha comes Udala Radio 104.7 FM, the voice of the region, where authentic news and entertainment meet. Udala Radio 104.7 FM, seriously authentic.
Crusade. Yes, so this one a mega once in a lifetime kind of crusade. House of Sublimes Properties Limited, the reigning real estate company known for zero problems, invites you to this land crusade with theme Gospel of Lands Crusade. If you have bought land anywhere and you are experiencing any problems or challenges, this crusade is for you. Highlights, connections, business deals, relationship meetings, first class entertainment, plus many other things. Date Sunday 20th of July 2025. Venue Night of St. Christopher Hall, All Saints Cathedral, opposite Red Cross Onitsha. Time 12 noon prompt. Come and get your breakthroughs. Get fee free of charge.
For inquiries, call Bishop on 081 36 40 4171 081 36 40 4171.
Come one, come all. House of Sublimes Properties Limited. Your peace of mind.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic. You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Alright, so thank you for staying tuned to the Radio 104.7 FM. It's now 10:26 a.m. and we are getting down to the time when we're going to open the phone lines for you to join this very conversation. My name is Franklin and Ebuka, and this is the Polity. Chisom, Chinedu, and Olisa Mbeki, all of us are together on this very program now. So let's just quickly dash to this very story, which is about what happened in Abuja yesterday. It was Constitution Summit, where the likes of Pandev, the Patriots, just named them, they were all there. Political leaders were at that very event. Civil society advocates, regional interest groups, they were all there. And at the end of the day, they called for a new constitution that reflects Nigeria's pluralism and addresses deep-rooted issues of governance, equity, and national unity. Now, we saw that people who took part in that very summit, they were divided on whether we need a new constitution or whether we have to, do a political reform. The likes of Basanjo, they were saying that we don't necessarily need a new constitution. What we have to do is to have a good political reform. And once we have a good political reform, of course, we can set Nigeria on the path of progress. According to Basanjo, what Nigeria has is that Nigeria have bad operations of the economy or of the government, and that's why we are where we are. But the likes of Chief Ebuka Franklin, former Secretary General of our Commonwealth and Chairman of the Patriots, he's saying that the 1999 constitution we have is a military-imposed document which has failed to deliver a true federal system of government or inspire any sense of shared ownership among Nigerians. And he's arguing that since Nigeria is pluralistic in nature, it requires a constitution made by the people through elected representatives and ratified by a referendum. So Chief Anyoki is not backing down on his stance that what we need is a new constitution. And we have to ask again, do we need a new constitution to reset the country? Or do we need a paradigm shift or maybe a change in mindset to reset the country?
I think if you can't get one, you have one. If you look at those who are in that very conference, they were arguing for something that is better than what we have now. And one is saying, let's change this constitution. Another one is saying, no, let us change some and possibly leave some. And we know that the problem has always been the operators and those who are managing the constitution, or those who are enforcing the constitution. They have been the problem, and the issue of corruption. They are making the same statement. They are saying the same thing, whether it is entirely new or whether you change quite a lot of things. And because there are changes you will make, the constitution will become new. There are changes you will make, the constitution will become new. So it's not entirely about bringing a separate document and call it something new entirely, or possibly when you make some changes to existing one and where it looks so different, you are all heading to the same destination. So let the approach not be the issue, whether it is going to be entirely new document, that is, you toss this one out and bring a new document, because if the new document you're going to bring will still contain some things in the old documents. Even the document, the very one that you want to reform and change some things, if you bring it and then bring another new one, they will look alike. Whether you bring a brand new constitution and then you use this one to make certain amendment, bring the two, they will look alike. So for me, these men should think in this direction. So let the argument not be whether entirely new. What we need is constitutional change, whether you call it new. I like the argument of Emeka Anyoko. The idea of making it new for him is not that there will be no changes as will be contained in the existing one we have when we make necessary changes. The argument is this: let it be from the people. The source of anything matters. That even if you make changes to this existing one, the source still remains military. It is not people's constitution. That is his argument. For us to make this thing to be people's constitution, let's have representatives elected and they will form the constituent assembly that we think out. If you let me say this thing, it goes this way: even if you elect representatives that we think out with this 1999 constitution and produce from it a new document, it's still the same thing. Now we can boldly say, we the people of Nigeria, remember it is contained in this constitution. But when you say that, people will say, where did we meet? When did we sit? We never sat. We never met. So how can it be we? You can't use the word. You can't denote that very word, that collective pronoun we, when we didn't meet. So the fact remains that they are all saying one thing. Yes, even if you bring a brand new constitution without an adequate need to reinforce institutions, why the operators of these constitutions are corrupt, that this, just as Obasanjo just said, because the institutions as presently constituted by the constitution makes them so weak and make them so reliant and over-reliant on the executive rascality. We can go on and say that the military, of course, that's the Emeka Anyoko's argument, that the constitution itself lacks legitimacy. That's what he believes, that is an illegitimate constitution. Military cannot impose something on us and we adopt it in a democratic system. And then you look at over-centralization of power. The constitution is more of unitary constitution than federal constitution. The only constitution we have in this country, or we've had in this country, that is purely federal is the 1963 constitution. And if time permits me, I will go. I think I will have exposed some of the things 1963 constitution contains, and which, if you look at 1963 constitution, where there was a federation of 4 regions, it recognized regions and gave them some level of independence. They had their own constitution. Regions had their constitutions. Regions had their police. And they had control over their resources. That's 1963 constitution. I don't want to talk about the system of government practice because it was parliamentary system of government then. And if you look at the derivation formula for revenue allocation, 50% regions kept half of what they produced. and contribute the rest half to the central government. That was 1963 constitution. Do we have something like that presently in 1979 or 1999 constitution? These things are lacking, where the central government takes over almost everything. So why then do you call the country a federal system? What is federalism? Where there is a principle, and that principle is power sharing between the central government and the federating units, where you have, and the central government usually have jurisdiction over currency, external affairs, and some other things like that. Not on transportation, not on health, not on security, but their own concern on security should be more of security against external aggression. So these are some of the things we're going to look. Institutions, as we have in our constitution, look at section 179. Every institution head, board appointed by Mr. President. Every, not even a single one. So when Mr. President appoints, hires and fires at his own whims and caprices, why wouldn't you? Because if the president is corrupt, the institutions will be corrupt. Can we have a system whereby even if the president is corrupt, the institutions will check the president, checkmate him? We don't have it. So if everybody goes where the president is, queue or file where Mr. President stands on any issue, on any issue. So that's not the kind of country we have.
Okay, so let's go to the phone lines now. 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. Don't forget that you have 2 minutes to make a contribution. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, your name?
Yeah, wonderful. My name is Ebuka Franklin. I'm calling from Opana Masaba.
Okay, go on, sir.
Wonderful. That man that's speaking right now, to be honest with you, I love that man more than anything in this life. To be honest, his name don't supposed to be the one that is here right now. In Igbo land, his name is supposed to be Eze Ezioku. In English, let me transform it in this way. The king of the truth. To be honest with you, this platform, I don't normally call you people, but I pay attention to you people. Ask him a question, how did he manage to overcome this gladiator that is ruling this country now? Because in spiritual or physically, maybe they'll be fighting him, but maybe he will not like to tell us what he began going through. To be honest, because this country, I find out that anybody that is stand for the truth does not end well. But only one thing I'm assuring this man that is speaking right now is only God in heaven that is going to protect him. Yeah, I want to say something about what is going on right now. The problem of Nigeria is not confusion. The problem of Nigeria is president. The reason why I said that is because when Goodluck or Yaradua are ruling, when we normally buy fuel 55 naira or 65 naira, when we normally buy a bag of rice 12,000 naira or 9,000 naira, is it not the same constitution these two people are using? So please, our problem is not constitution. To be honest, our problem is president. If they want to do things well, they do things well. Let's not leave this thing. Let us face the truth. To be honest, I remember he said yesterday about what Ngige said. Ngige was lying. He wears shirt of a common shirt like this and wearing all over his hand. Just continue lying. Say when this one is ruling, it's because of fuel is calling.
All right, thank you. It's 2 minutes for everybody. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, the Secretary.
Good morning, your name?
PK from Obosi.
I go on, Mr. PK.
I proceed. Yeah. You see, I'm going for Plateau Saga. You understand how the thing is boiling my upstairs is that, see, how can somebody, a living human being, that blood flows inside his system and water flows the system with me, to circle a place with a fire? When the citizen come out, what kind of thing is this? What be Igbo, if you be Yoruba, it's outside, take everybody as the same thing. I haven't here in my life Igbo herdsmen or Yoruba herdsmen in my life. Let federal government let it do the big fool. People are dying every day in this country. They are talking about ADC, PDP, ADC. That's not the issue. Let them back this in one side and save the life of somebody which they swear in to be in that seat. It is spending me so much, my brother, because last month I goes to the Republic, my brother, you see what happened there. I entered the supermarket. I begin to say things about Nigeria, what is happening there, they begin to warn me. One man talking to me, another man crying. Let me say, sir, do you know that I stand for Kaduna, I watch them, they need my family members. I run down to this Benin Republic to save my life. Only me remaining. You see, Nigeria life, maybe they sell right 1 naira, they can never come back to this country anymore. We are feeling pain here. Let federal government do the needful.
All right.
Let them avoid.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, good morning.
Wonderful morning to you, Franklin.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
Thank you so much, Honorable Dick, and I'm calling from Onitsha. My regards to the police at the studio.
Yes, go on, DK.
Going straight to the point here, I think I just want to say that not just Reno or mockery, even the former militants or the current militants that stay in the creek, as Sare Dokubo, also is making remarks. Mention Keneto Kongo, we still living in bondage. Mention them, I don't want to go the way of Bayo or Nanuga, all these presidential spokesperson, they're officially being paid for what they're doing. Yes, some week is not an exception. But the fact remains that Nigeria is yearning for a new Nigeria. It's not issue of Southeast. You know, even what Peter is doing has surpassed the Southeast. Fact, Peter is also trending in Africa. African countries is admiring his policies, his ideas that he's going to bring into Africa. So, Reno, I don't even know why I keep talking about Reno here, but Asare Dokubo on his own part was throwing jabs. That tells you that the current administration is doing nothing but paying people to demarcate His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi. Peter also made a remark at the funeral. Yeah, he said that President Muhammadu Buhari told him that, see that people love you, he should remember the poor. If he wins the election, that tells you that this man is well accepted across board. I mean, why would you see a man that is Nigerian loved? It's not the issue of Igbo, it's not the issue of Yoruba. Recently now, there's a news that is trending everywhere, that most of the streets that is being named after Igbo names is being, renamed after Yoruba names. What they're doing can't stop it. They recently went and demolished the brother's house in Lagos. You can't stop him.
All right.
Whom God have ordained, he has ordained. So I just want to urge Nigerians to keeping on, because we are almost there. An article will also back him up, because I know it's the turn of the South, and we must complete our 8 years. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you, DK, for joining. So don't forget that the phone lines are 0803 221 6973 or 0803 827 6694. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, your name?
You're welcome.
The Honorable Speaker Mbeki is not himself. I agree.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Like me, I agree also.
Go on, sir.
Same thing. I think the voice of the representative is going from our American kingdom. But I'm asking you now.
Okay.
Frankly speaking, then what? This is the new statement. I call it spade. Look, platonic fermentation is in order. If you go to the north, the arrowhead is Buhari, and Buhari said, the opposite is that now. And the first now that followed by South Africa. The South Africa is not more versatile than us. As you what I call the nation. spell it out. Here. P2B and Tinubu. Number one, Tinubu turned back P2B. This is truth here. And if P2B and Tinubu imagine to contest presidency in next election, they will reach out P2B. And the responsible for about I agree with him 100%. I know very well that the Northerners, they are where they put. If they don't let them meet, they say this is what you are following. That's where they are following. And you cannot compare the voters. The number of voters in the North than that they start here. That's the practical truth. Even our South East and South come together. They will not match support and not in the election. So the best thing for to have APC is P2B being the vice of Atiku. That goes to Agore went to India. You know what our plan is? They allow
you have to round off.
They allow P2B to have their peace. Atiku will come in. So divide the vote of the South and North, like we did last time. This is the plan, what they are trying to do now.
Okay, thank you. Hello. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, thank you for joining.
Got 2 minutes. Good morning, house. Olisa Mbeki, I salute you. Franklin, ready to put my lady.
Good morning to you.
First and foremost, yes, do we need a new constitution? We do, very seriously. We can't ape America, but we're not Americans, and we can never be like them. The structures, the institutions, everything they do, the principles, we can't. So let's grow our own kind of democracy. Having said that, Macri, well, I don't think we're talking about. When the time comes, our Wuto brand of obedience know how to talk with you, okay? Or talk to you, rather. And then please, just allow me. And we're talking of the government of the day, yeah? Politics of the day. To start with, Madam Buhari was an enigma. A patriot, say Baba, a military governor, head of state, a president of Federal Republic for 8 years. Yes, his passing away has changed the political terrain of country. And you can see alignment and realignment going on. I mean, sometimes you wonder, what do people live for their people? I will praise him, I've eulogized him, yes. And I know, one thing Madam Buhari will never, I'm calling him, that's the Islamic title he has too. One thing he didn't wish for, I know, in my heart, and I take full responsibility, is align Tinubu Ahmed, president, to lead Nigeria the way we are today. I don't think he would have liked it or allowed it. But you know, his ideological stance has made him a kind of a weakling. Yes, because he promised that he would hand over to Tinubu. Now, elsewhere, his ideological stance let him keep Nnamdi Kanu there. And everyone spoke to him, begged him, and he said simply, let the law take its stand. One would have expected our judges, the judiciary, to look at it. The man was not a lawyer. The former president was not a lawyer. But rather, they say, oh, let us just, the day he talks, Malani and Co., then we will do what he wants us to do. But the last one, his ideological stance again, failed us terribly. Nigerian youth are lazy. I believe he was looking at the Nigerian youth in the northern part of the country. Yes. Probably he was thinking about them, and he said they are lazy, and then one says,
your time
what
is elapsing.
did he do to make them productive. Now see what he has left us. Youth, healthy youth from up country becoming scavengers. Very serious scavengers all over the country.
All right.
And I don't
Thank
say
you.
that we must, all of us Nigerians, put our hands on board. Like you're doing in your station, I cherish your station very much. We must put our hands there. All of us speak the truth. Take responsibility for what you say. And for mockery, well, I don't blame you. You know, when you don't think you're going to be a king and you become a prince.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for lending your opinion. And don't forget, you can go to our Facebook page. Drop your comment there. We're going to acknowledge the post in a matter of a minute. Stay with us. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Good morning, everyone in the studio.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
I am Great Dame. It's Japakego streaming live from Osmo.
Okay, please, quickly, 1 minute.
You say, next I talk was on point. While Obasanjo failed it all. For those who wish to obey Nigeria, they need a fresh.
Okay, sorry for that. I think we have to go to our Facebook page now. Let's get to acknowledge some of the posts. But before then, let's just attend to this very commercial so that from that very Facebook, we get to wrap up.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Hello, Philip.
Guy, how far now? It's 11:45. Waiting shop.
I beg, no vex. My landlord locked me for outside, though.
Again?
No vex. I beg, have you come sleep for your side this night?
Omo, my babe, they around, though. But nothing do you. Try call celebrity landlady.
Guy, serious now. Celebrity kini.
Celebrity landlady. See, with celebrity landlady, you fit turn landlord with just 100k every week.
Nah, lie.
I go lie for you.
Not true. You can own your dream land with just 100k weekly. Yes, with Celebrity Landlady Save to Buy plan, that property where you dream of fit be your own just like that. Oh, a Save to Buy plan allows you to pay for your dream land instrumentally, easy, flexible, and all yours. A Save to Buy plan is convenient and safe. Start now and become a proud property owner in top locations like Otulu Asaba, behind Ogwashuku Polytechnic, Admiralty Drive, Ibusa, and Isel Asaba. For more information, call us now on 0701 018 8042 or 0903 844 9351. Celebrity Landlady, turning you into a proud homeowner.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
AFM. We give you more than properties. We give you opportunities. From Nkwele to Umuya, Awka to Umweri, from Oba to Agleri, Mbako to Oji River, from Emene to Asaba, Aba to Abuja, Lagos to Imo. AFF is planning possibilities in over 20 states across Nigeria with free inspection. We are in Alkanai table water, purity in every drop. We are in wine, the refreshment for your soul. Get 5% interest in just 3 months or grow it to 20% in 1 year. No story, just favor.
You register with Obelego. I get one plot of land in
AFF Landport Global Estate Limited, where favor meets opportunity. Visit our physical office at number 56 Tony Ume Street, Awada, or call us now on 070 6567 6913. AFF Ujane Mogo.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Alright, so you're tuned to the radio 104.7 FM, and we're on the almost getting to the end of this very program, but we have to go to our Facebook page to acknowledge the post we have there. So Chisom,
All right, then over to Facebook at Udala Radio 104.7 FM. We're starting with your comment in Maule Bara. She says what Nigeria needs now is a brand new constitution and not amending the old one that has a lot of flaws. A new constitution that will give us our own native and homegrown democracy and not the borrowed, expensive presidential system that empowers leaders to be lords of the manor, impoverishing the land of our birth. Mazi Zubi Maduweke says, PDP says that Atiku's exit won't affect their fortunes. We are watching. We know that a tree cannot make a forest. Eke Gona says some PDP members talking down on Atiku leaving their party should calmly do a total check on how the party leadership has been in the last 3 years from the day Atiku won weekend in the 2023 presidential election. Ebuka Ndolo says Atiku's move raises some serious questions. Will the PDP suffer without him, or could this be an opportunity for the party to reinvent itself? What about our state? How will this shake up the political scene? Ultimately, we have to wonder about Atiku's moves. If this is about personal gain, or does he truly believe he can do more good outside the PDP? Chinedu Mora, I am thinking with the present onslaught, Obi should contest under PDP to make a better distinction on sides. Did you hear that, Franklin? Did you hear that? Do you ever think that the Obi should contest under the PDP?
I will answer that by asking Anya.
Okay. And Tino Obi says Atiku dumping PDP is not news again. Oh, well, I like to think that you've seen it all. Let's see what you also have to say on this side of the divide. Some more comments here. We'll take as much as we can. Chikwaderemo Sinachi says that the 3 tiers of government are not working. The executive failing to obey orders given by the judiciary, lawmakers and judiciary marginalizing people's right. I don't buy the idea of a new constitution. Rather, they should reintroduce the 1963 constitution. And besides, amending or having new constitution, I think you mean to say makes little or no difference. Franklin, I think this is so much we can take. I am sorry if we cannot take any more of your comments today.
Okay, so Tony, you have to leave now. So how do you summarize in a minute?
We've been able to do justice to what we have before us. And for Atiku, blame him as much as we can. The man is fighting for what he believes in. His conviction that he would at one point be the president of this very country, but it still remains God that maketh any man king. He will do as much as he could do, but remember how Buhari, it took him 2003, 2007, 2011 until that alignment with a southern bloc. And then remember, Tinubu became president with that alignment with a northern bloc, where Muhammad Buhari supported him, and P2B, our brother. I think he represents a new Nigeria. There's no doubt. He is the new Nigeria many young generations aspire, but you must play the politics. You must also get structure, and he is working hard towards that. So we look out for these men as they make their political alignment, realignment, adjustment for a better Nigeria. That's what we are interested in.
All right, Chisom.
Well, what I can simply say is that personally, I'm still looking forward to see how it eventually pans out come 2027, especially with all the projections coming from different factions. Hopefully, Nigerians get an actual chance to decide.
All right, so maybe I should say that the lights many Nigerians think had been lit may have been extinguished before it blossoms. And on that very note, we have to end today's program. My name is Franklin Ebuka. Thank you all for listening. Good morning.